Why do you want them to listen to your podcast?
So that when they think about starting a business, they've got the content that is pointing them in the right direction.
That is such a valuable piece of advice there.
The change in mindset makes a massive difference.
Welcome to Aussie Lawn Stars.
First session gave us quick coverage of what your business startup looked like and details around that. But we want to take a deeper dive, mate. We want to look at your numbers and we want to look at a bunch of different things. But one of the reasons your business works well for you is for lifestyle benefit, not just for making millions of dollars, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a balancing act. It needs to level out, and I'm slowly finding that I'm learning that I've got to give myself days in between as well. So it's just a matter of sticking to them as well.
That's hard work, trying to go, all right, I'm going to say no to something so that I can have some downtime, spend time with the wife or whatever it is. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm slowly learning it. And
yeah.
It'll come.
I'm going to ask you some hard questions. I'm going to make you uncomfortable, maybe. We'll see.
No.
Can't be all motorbikes and fun. But like we said, your business has been to add benefit to your lifestyle. It adds value by adding money, but it's not all about the money. It's also about the lifestyle. So when you first started, did you get hints and tips off other people, or did you join up with the Facebook groups like LMCA or the Newcastle Contractors Group to get some help with what it should be looking like?
Yeah, I joined all the pages and joined the Newcastle one, and the amount of knowledge on there with the amount of people on there now, but even 3 years ago, there wasn't as many people, but the knowledge on there was still the same. It was any sort of any question, anything, there was always an answer somewhere.
Yeah, I've found the Newcastle group's a nice tight-knit group, and most people are pretty helpful. Yeah,
for sure. I've got a few jobs off of a couple of people here and there when they've put up, chasing someone to do this, do that.
Yeah, awesome.
But realistically now I'm pretty good with what I've got on the regular maintenance. So I haven't needed to advertise or chase them Facebook groups as much.
That's the way it should be. But when you started, given that you had people that could help you, were you hitting it out of the park with making lots of money?
No, I definitely wouldn't say that. I learnt what I was worth pretty quick.
Yeah,
because I'm definitely a man of my word. So if I've quoted someone something and I've got halfway into it and I've realised, I've done my ass here, or I did learn a few hard lessons, but
I think we all have.
Yeah, that's the only way you learn too, is give someone that cheap job and you think, well, I ain't doing that again at that price.
Yeah. So feel free to don't tell me the details on your spray painting job. You might want to keep that really less public, but you'd be used to working for a wage in the spray painting job. So if you're working as a business and you're going, if I can earn $30, $40 an hour spray painting, I don't know where you're at, then that's like all I need to do is a little bit more than that on the lawn mowing, right?
Yeah, that was my first thought.
I know, and, that's what I was looking at when I started.
Yeah, well, I've always been an employee. I've always worked for someone else, but then starting to work for myself, I slowly learned that you do have to be on the money with your quotes and know why you're charging what you're charging. Yeah.
Now, when I started, I was probably aiming for double of what a wage is to charge out as an hourly rate, not telling the customers the hourly rate, of course, but I was, $25 an hour is a average wage, $50 an hour for lawn mowing. That's awesome. And then when I paid an employee and worked out that by the time I paid him and paid my expenses, I was running at a loss. So
Yeah,
the numbers I've heard when I started podcasting and joining up places like the lawn mowing contractors groups, it's like you need to do 3 times what a wage is basically to cover your business expenses and your wages and actually make some money after you pay a wage. And if you're working for yourself, you sort of consider your wage profit usually, but it's still not a great way to look at it.
yeah, you got to make sure you've taken everything into consideration, not just the job in like itself as well, like the gear you're using and
Yeah.
sort of what that job's actually going to cost you before you even start it.
Yeah, the cost of doing business.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so when you started out, you hadn't factored all those things in?
Nah, not at all. I just look at it like, this will take me, let's say, half an hour.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy with $50.
Yeah.
But I quickly learned that you become too busy if you're
Yep.
doing lawns for $50.
Yeah, and if it takes you half an hour to do that job, by the time you do 2 jobs, it's not 1 hour, it's an hour and a half.
That's exactly.
So the hour it takes you to do that job is not taking into full account the cost of doing the job.
Nah, all getting there.
Yeah.
So so I learned pretty quick that I needed to be grouping the regulars together for a start.
Yep.
And to
more efficient.
Yeah, and to really actually look at the job as a whole job, not just the grass I was standing on or the garden I was climbing through.
Yeah, okay.
So I've slowly gained on that now, and instead of charging around the $50 mark for the average job, I'm sort of looking at the job or looking at the property as a whole. As I wouldn't say I so much do packages, but everyone's lawn and garden, I like to do the hedging at least 4 times a year if they want to keep on top of it, depending on the species. But it's hard. Some araya, you need to be doing it more than 4 times a year. So, I sort of look at properties and look at jobs now. As long as I'm not really interested in the one-off jobs. That's probably a good point. It's when I started, I was quite happy with the one-off jobs, the rental cleanups. I've got in touch with a few real estates, so they give me a bit of work. But the more I've continued to go on, I've found that I've niched into the properties that want continual maintenance all year round, whether that be fortnightly or monthly. And then they want the gardening work to go with it. So then that keeps me going through winter as well, when everything goes back to monthly. So it's sort of, as I've gone on, I've learnt to look at a job, but it may just be that they only ask for lawn mowing to start with, but then as soon as you get there, you look at the hedges or you look at the gardens and they want help with that too, and they're really surprised that I do that servicing too. So
that's amazing, isn't it? Some people just think that you can only do lawn mowing.
yeah, considering I've got gardening in my business name as well.
Yeah, I know a lot of contractors, let's call them cowboys, but not all of them are cowboys, but a lot of contractors say, no, we only do lawns, we don't do hedging, we don't do gardening.
Yeah, that's what I've found. It's a common trend that they had the lawnmower. There was a few properties that I was actually doing some gardening work at, and they had a different lawnmower.
Yeah.
Lawnmower bloke, and it didn't make sense to me, so I don't do them ones anymore.
There's a lot of aspects to doing business in a way that's professional, efficient, and helps to make sure you're making the most out of it.
Yeah, and if you're picking the work that you want for your business, you should be getting the kickback that you want and the satisfaction from each job.
For sure. So, yeah, if you look at a customer that is a lawn mowing customer and you're going, okay, they're probably going to make me $1,500, $2,000 a year.
Yeah.
If they have hedges and gardening that needs doing as well, that doubles them and sometimes triples them. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's less, but yeah.
that's exactly right. And I learnt that fairly quick. And it doesn't take long with the time that I do have to add it all up and have a look at my winter schedule when everything goes back to monthly. And yeah, I've got more jobs there than I think I do. I always think it's going to be quiet again, and then there's always been more jobs coming in.
I've found time and time again, people ask for a indication of how many customers you have. And usually when people are asking this, it's sort of like a who's the biggest pin in the game? Who's got the most customers? And if you've got the most customers, then you must work really hard or you must have an awesome income. And often I've found other people might have 100, 150, 200, 250 customers working solo. And it's like, man, you must be way too busy. And then you hear people that have got 60 customers, 50 customers, 20 customers. And it's like, hang on a minute, are we in the same game?
Yeah.
But one of the factors that comes in there is just the sheer number of jobs that people can actually manage. If they are 15-minute jobs or 10-minute jobs, you can do more jobs than somebody who's got 1-hour jobs. And that's one factor that comes into it. The other one is what you're talking about. If you've got a customer that you're doing their lawns, but you're also doing gardening for them, then that makes a massive difference to how many customers you need to fill your books up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And at the end of the day, I see them clients as a lot more valuable to me because you're not jumping around dealing with a lot more clients as well. Like if I didn't do the gardening side of it, I feel like I could comfortably look after at least another 10 to 15 clients just doing the lawns. But I
Yeah.
know when the gardening work comes around, it keeps me going. So I like to have the lot covered, and it mixes my day up as well, or mixes my weeks up to, I'm not doing the same thing over and over, just smashing out lawns.
That's it. I think at my highest number of regular customers, it was somewhere between 70 and 80 customers, regulars. But I work in an area where the average customer is between 45 minutes and an hour job. And then in amongst that, I had commercial work, which was 2 hours here, 4 hours there, a day here, a day a week on one customer. And nowadays I have dropped residential jobs and I'm only doing large commercial contracts. So one place full time.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
if you've
that'd be the way I'd definitely sort of scope in on it. If I was going to go full time one day, I'd rather at least 2 or 3 bigger contracts, and that'd keep me busy instead of having a handful of residential. But there's perks of both, so
definitely, yeah.
I'm very happy with the clients I've got for now. Anyway.
Residential has a lot of benefits because you've got more customers and that makes it easy come, easy go. You don't mind losing a residential customer when you've got 80 of them or 150 of them or even 30 of them, because one customer isn't making your business or breaking your business. When you've got larger contracts that are $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 in one contract, that's different.
Yeah, you've got all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. Even if you got several contracts like that. And I guess at the same time, like if you go from having one contract that's $200,000 to having several contracts that are $50,000, it does mitigate the risk a bit, but it's still a lot of risk in each contract.
Yeah, it is. It's at the end of the day, it depends what sort of work you want to chase.
Yeah. So there's no right answer there in terms of how many customers is the perfect number of customers, but reflect on how your business works and are you happy with where you're at? Do you need to grow? Are you happy? Do you want to change it to different types of customers?
No, it's more just replacing any of just me lawn lawn customers with lawn and garden customers if they come up in the right location.
Fair enough.
I want to keep it nice and close to home to keep the travel down, especially while I'm still working full time.
A lot of people have been asking about which brand of battery tool to buy, and I don't like to recommend one brand of battery for everyone or every situation. Dealer support and access to parts and service all play a big role in that decision. Some brands have better tools for specific needs or each product category. I've been using a variety of brands, and I endeavour to provide unbiased interviews on Aussie Lawn Stars with as many of those product brands as possible. I reached out to Ego Power Plus through the podcast because of how Barry supports the industry and Ego owners. Barry has impressed me with his loyalty to customers in providing support and listening to the needs of the industry, which has resulted in a full lineup of new commercial tools landing in Australia over the last 12 months that has positioned Ego as a leader in the commercial tool space for outdoor power equipment. Visit egopowerplus.com.au to see if they have the tools you need today.
Say the average, you're getting your $2,000 from each property for a mow, but as soon as you start doing some gardening, you can easily double that income from that property. So over the last 12 months, that's been my goal, and I've got quite a few on the books now that are both. So even when I get my rest time at winter, I'll still have plenty of decent jobs to keep me going.
Yeah, so you'll still have mowing, less frequent than in summer, but still have some mowing to do, and you'll have all those other jobs from those customers.
Yeah, that's it. Picking up all the hedge clippings.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's good time to make the most of that.
Yeah, it's a bit cooler as well because it gets bloody hot around here.
Yeah. So with a bunch of residential customers, are you using any CRMs like customer relationship management software, or using an accounting package to invoice from and bill from?
Yeah, I'm running Xero just at a very basic, the most basic thing you can get.
Yeah.
But no CRMs. I just got just my notepad and a diary, and the diary on my phone.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people
do
are
it that
using
way.
the diary on the phone. That's a great way to run a schedule.
Yeah, well, it's easy for me to manage because I don't have a handful of clients, so it all works quite well, and it's easy to get everything repeating, and it's been great so far. I don't feel the need for anything else. Xero's good because it helps with the invoicing and to see me costs and spendings.
Yeah. Yeah, Xero is really good for invoicing the customers and sending reminders, and it gets your late payments down really low, and your the time that it takes to get paid down lower too. It's easier for you to have written on the invoice in Xero payment terms 7 days or payment terms on completion, so that customers get that expectation quickly.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty lucky so far. I haven't had to chase too much money at all.
Yeah, awesome.
So
I've had to chase a few, but that's part and parcel with doing some of those jobs.
Yeah, that's it. I've had to chase a few myself, but I think it's a lot about how you hold and handle yourself at the start of the quote with the customer. I'm a big believer in that. If you tell them your terms quite clearly, I've found it works for me before you even start work.
Yeah, and most people are happy to be compliant if they know what your expectations are.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's usually when expectations are not clear, and then they might feel that they are over, or they might be trying to dodge you. That's when people start getting caught out. If the expectations aren't clear from the start and the customer starts trying to avoid answering calls.
Yeah, definitely. And even that's one thing the wife's always helped me with from the start, that's for sure, with all the computer side, email side of it, and what to make sure I have put in my quotes to say what, it really explain the scope of works, like make it nice and clear.
Yeah, clear scope of work, clear payment terms, and there's less to go wrong.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in terms of business side of things that we should cover?
Pretty simple, pretty lean, and I like to keep it that way. It's keep it simple, stupid, and it seems to work so far because at the end of the day, I'm doing
Yeah,
it for a profit.
yeah, of course.
And it's for what the hours I put into my business, for what I get in return is, I'm going to keep going. And as soon as I get I've probably got another 10 clients that I can change over to gardening clients as well, hopefully.
Yeah, awesome.
And it's
That's all about just refining what you're doing and what works well and making it a little bit more streamlined with the customers that you want.
yeah, that's it. Just refine it down to the customers I'm happy to be in the gardens too. You know, some properties, the builders obviously have never mowed a lawn before because they decide to put 10, 20 steps down to the back lawn or something silly like that, you know. So
Yeah.
some properties just don't interest me at all now, and I don't need to chase I don't need to get every single job. And that's one thing I have learnt is if I'm getting every quote, I'm too cheap.
Yep.
And especially if it's with the real estates.
Yes. So I think there's a lot to be said for supply and demand and scarcity. If you're taking every job or getting every job, then it's probably not where you want to be.
Yeah,
And
that's exactly right.
if you are deliberately factoring that in and you're turning down some jobs or you're deliberately making sure you're not available for all of the jobs, that does give you more control over your business. Makes it a lot easier for you to be able to then filter customers as they come through. If you're like, I'm going to turn down some jobs, which ones?
Yeah, definitely. You can't, if you take on too much, you're going to lose the good opportunities that you could have had if you fill your schedule up with the things you know you shouldn't be doing.
Yep. And if you are turning some jobs down, then that also creates a bit of a scarcity mindset for your customers so that people are willing to work a little bit harder to be your customer and chase a little bit harder and modify their expectations if they're not in alignment with yours.
Yeah, and that's right. And at the end of the day, not everyone has the same expectation of what they want out of their property as well. So I think it will get to a point where if I do want to be trying to find them higher end properties where they obviously value their space a lot more, it is going to be harder to let go of some of the older clients that I've had for obviously not too long of a time, but they were good to me from the start. Yep. But if that's the way I want to push my business and I've only got X amount of time I'm allocating to my business, I think that's, it's going to be the best thing for me to do.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just all part of growth, I guess, with it. Little steps and see what comes. And
I've always had the approach with existing customers that I would rather keep them than replace them if they need to adjust their expectations or there needs to be some change in pricing or whatever it might be. And it's like, okay, if occasionally it's a case of there's no way I can align with that customer, see you later. But if there's a way that we can align, we can adjust the price, we can adjust the type of customer it is so that they include gardening, whatever it is. I prefer to give an existing customer the option to fit with my business before I boot them.
Yeah, definitely. And even 12 months ago, I did that over the whole board of everyone that I've got on and gave everyone a price rise, and I didn't have one kickback. And
awesome.
Every property now that I am just doing the lawns at is at a point where I am happy with it.
Yeah.
So it would be hard to replace as such, to go to something that you never know. It's all foreign ground when you go to do a new quote and you don't know the people. So
that's right. Yeah. So
but that doesn't mean it can't work out for you either.
Well, I guess this is where you've got the leverage because you're in that position, right? You can gauge a existing customer whether your relationship with them currently is such that you can make some modifications, or whether you're like, nah, there's already some red flags there. Don't really want to keep trying with that customer, or I just need to go, okay, there's red flags there. Let's see if we can get them to green flags.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I don't know, everyone has a different value on their property and its upkeep, I guess, at the end of the day. So, yeah, when that time comes, I'll work it out.
We have covered everything that we need to cover with you in a fairly short space of time. 2 sessions, I think.
Yeah. Haven't got a whole lot to say. I haven't been in the industry a long time at all. So,
No, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I think we've been transparent and we've been clear and we've given people a really good insight into what you are doing, and I think that's good.
yeah, I'm pretty straight to the point, so it doesn't take long to get what I want to say across. So, but another thing I got from a podcast, people were talking about a spray course.
Yeah,
I done that early stages, and
that's the
actually
ChemCert.
gave me. What was that? Sorry.
Is that the ChemCert spray course? Yeah.
Yeah, I done that early on in my first year.
Yeah.
And it did make a fair bit of difference to just understanding doing the weed treatments off the side of it as well, not just doing the single course.
Yeah, okay.
It gave me a pretty good idea how to treat a broad sort of spectrum of not everything, but it gave me a fair bit of confidence to actually do product applications on clients' properties when I'd only ever done my own place and friends.
Good.
So
doing the course didn't just cover compliance, but it also made you a lot more confident in offering that as a service.
Yeah, definitely.
Good stuff.
And that's actually one probably main additional service, I guess, to my business, as well as the gardening. But I found over time, some clients now have just sort of, they know once the clover pops up, it's that time that I'm going to be spraying again if it has come back.
Yeah, for sure.
So good little addition to add to people that aren't doing it if they're considering it. It's only a day course. So
I know a lot of people are on the fence or against doing the course because they don't think that it's worthwhile or necessary or valuable for them. And yeah, certainly I would encourage everybody to do it as well. It's one of those things which, it's not necessary to do when you're in business. It matters how much spraying you do. If you're doing less than 20 litres of spraying in a day, then you're not required to do the course. But there's so much value in doing it. If you ever think you're going to be hitting around 20 litres per day, or you're going to be doing more than the occasional Roundup spray to just get weeds out of a path or something, then it's worth your while to do the course, like you say, give you the confidence to be able to offer that service with quality and the assurance to the customer that you've done everything to understand that service and provide them professional service.
Yeah, no, I took a lot from it, so I thought I may as well add that in there as sort of for anyone starting out. It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to find the course locally to yourself. You get signed up and you get it done within a month or two of signing up.
Yeah, if I can work out how to ring up and book a course, anyone can.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawn Stars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.